Arizona's top court has upheld an 1864 law that bans nearly all abortions. The decision may have far-reaching consequences for women's health care and reproductive rights, as well as in the coming presidential elections in the country. The 1864 law, which precedes Arizona becoming a state, makes abortion punishable by 2 to 5 years in prison. There are no exceptions for cases of rape or incest, although there is an exception when the mother's life is at risk. The Arizona Supreme Court ruled 4-2 in favor of the anti-abortion law, although it is on hold for 14 days to allow parties to raise arguments at the trial court level. The ruling by Arizona's top court on the 160-year-old near-total abortion ban could lead to the closure of all clinics in the state.
Arizona's 2022 abortion ban is extreme and hurts women. And the near total Civil War era ban that continues to hang over our heads only serves to create more chaos for women and doctors in our state. As governor, I promised I would do everything in my power to protect our reproductive freedoms.
The fight over abortion access in Arizona is far from over. Arizona voters may be able to undo the ruling in a November referendum. Activists in the state say they have already met the signature threshold required to put the question to voters this autumn. U.S. President Joe Biden has also raised his concern over the decision. He says millions of Arizonians will soon live under an even more extreme and dangerous abortion ban, further adding the ruling is a result of the extreme agenda of Republican elected officials who are committed to ripping away women's freedoms.
This is what democracy looks like.
There are now 21 extreme state abortion bans in effect across the country. 1/3 of all women of reproductive age now live in a state with an abortion ban. And all of these bans, including the one upheld today that was upheld by the Arizona Supreme Court, are a direct result of the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade.
Arizona joins 14 other states with near-complete abortion bans. It also marks the latest legal setback for abortion rights following a ruling last week by the Florida Supreme Court that cleared the way for a Republican-backed law banning abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy to take effect. Such rulings come after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the federal right to abortion in the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling that had made access to abortion a constitutional right nationwide. All right, for more on this, we are now being joined by our guest, Lena Abir-Offit, a global women's rights expert, and she's joining us live from New York. Lena, thank you so much for joining us on WION. What would be the consequences for women's health care and such due to Arizona's highest court banning nearly all abortion at this point?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I have worked on women's rights around the world for over 2 decades. And what I know is restrictions absolutely never work. They cause greater setbacks for women. So we're talking about risks to their health, to their lives, certainly restricting women's choice and decisions about their own bodies and their own fundamental freedoms is going to cause a massive setback for women's rights. You know, currently in the States, we would like to imagine that this is a bastion of human rights and of women's rights. And what we're seeing is proving otherwise. With the setback, the reversal in 2022 of Roe v. Wade, that really kicked it off for all of us in terms of opening the door for states to be very regressive in terms of their policies, to be restrictive, to all out ban. I mean, what we're seeing in Arizona is truly shocking and could be dangerously contagious. So we're talking about women who are losing fundamental freedoms, bodily autonomy and integrity in a place where we were led to believe those rights were secured. So I think this is a very dangerous time for women.
Yeah, it was interesting to see that this ruling came it's so shortly after former President Donald Trump, Republican presumptive candidate for 2024, tried to take a more moderate, middle of the road approach. What role do you think abortion will play in the upcoming elections?
I think it's playing a massive role. I think the Democrats are going to be using this, keeping abortion on the ballot. But we're in a time where there are major key issues in terms of human rights and women's rights. I mean, if we look at what's happening with Democratic and certainly President Biden's policies on Palestine, for instance, but I think that has caused a massive setback and a loss to his voter base, to the people who would have voted for him and supported him on abortion, on women's rights to choose, are now questioning whether or not his commitment to human rights is selective, is skin-based. So for us, for me personally, as an Arab American woman, I'm a voter, but I'm also Lebanese and Palestinian. And it's put my loyalties into question as well, because I'm forced to choose now between an old white misogynist or an old white war criminal. And neither of those choices present themselves as very appealing to me. And I think there are other people in my position as well. So it is absolutely a conversation that we're going to see play out over the coming months, and to our detriment, I'm afraid.
Very interesting. And those inflation numbers weren't very good coming out this morning either. Lina Abir Afet, thank you so much for joining us on WION, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.